Hey, what's up? This is Earl Watson. I'm on the Jegna Klub on the Evening Social Podcast. Tune in, tap in, check it out. Dotte for life. Peace.
You get out here in the real world, it's a whole different thing. So
My partner always say you get one ticket to kick it, man.
Yes, sir.
So you got to take advantage of it.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you saying that because our listeners, our youth, they do need to understand to expand.
Yeah.
Don't. And I'm not saying don't focus.
Yeah.
I'm saying to expand. And I just mean, just explore different opportunities, different likes. You never know what your true passion will be, or your true skill.
Yes, sir.
You don't know that unless you actually try it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I appreciate you saying that, bringing it out so that our listeners can understand that.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. And it's just funny, like now, here I am, a grown man with a wife and a son. And now it's just like, nah, creativity is like, nah, you going to let me out. You going to tell these jokes. Yeah. You going to make these videos. You going to write these. You going to let me out. You going to shoot these commercials. So now the creativity is just bursting out of me. And I'm just like, well, dang, what if I would have started doing this about 15 years ago? What would have happened? So, reach for those dreams. Reach for those talents and gifts. So.
Good evening. This is Coach Mo here with the Evening Social Podcast. The Evening Social Podcast is the Jegna Klub's vision to build a community of individuals with an entrepreneurial mindset that are economically independent, working in harmony. The Evening Social Podcast, is the platform that provides an opportunity to highlight and introduce different career fields and choices and pathways to our students and their families. It also helps mirror to our youth the struggles and obstacles that others endure on their pathway to success. Tonight, our guest embodies what it truly means to have the pathway to success and to trust the process. He's a definition of Wyandotte County. We have tonight Mr. Earl Watson.
Appreciate you having me, bro.
Man, I appreciate you being here. If you're wondering, our episode tonight is entitled Just a Kid from the Dotte. Part of the definition of the word Jegna means not to be afraid to speak truth to power. Some people say that that's hard conversations. The only reason it's hard is because we're talking about some things in the past, may be a little emotional. But this is really not a conversation for us. It's a conversation for those that come before us and after us. We want to honor those who helped us get here, and then we want to teach those coming after us. So I'm going to ask you some probably what you think is just obvious questions, but for those who are looking, our youth, I want to make sure they understand what today is. So what is your profession?
My profession, man, I do everything. Real estate, community work, NBA coach, former NBA player, donating to certain, my profession is to uplift. That's my profession, dog. Like any place I can go and uplift, that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? If it's no purpose in it, I won't touch it. So like it's for me, it's everything I do with a purpose. I do with intention.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna ask you, so do you have kids?
Yeah, 2 kids, a boy and a girl, but the girl's the oldest, the son is the youngest.
Okay, all right. Are you married?
Not married.
Not married. Okay, good. I always
definitely good.
Definitely good. Okay. I always like to ask that because I want our youth to see you as a person.
Yeah.
To see you.
Yeah.
KCK, I want everybody to zoom in and I want everybody to listen to me closely. Drip Ultra Pure Water is now the official partner of the Evening Social Podcast. I am David Jordan. I'm going to say this one more time. Drip Ultra Pure Water is now the official partner of the Evening Social Podcast. Come on now, support it.
So I have a section that we start every show with, what's called like fun questions, or icebreakers, just kind of to get it before we get into.
Yeah.
So I got a few for you. So here's the first one. If you could choose one song to play every time you walked into a room for the rest of your life.
Man, Tupac, All Eyes on Me.
Okay.
Come on, bro. From the Dotte, bro.
I got you. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you had a time machine, would you travel to the future or back in time?
I'll travel to the classical civil rights era of our country. Martin Luther King, the Malcolm X, just the foundation of black mindfulness when it all like kind of came together. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, to me, you know, I graduated in history from UCLA, and I wanted to go to law school, so I took all the history classes I could just to like learn people and learn culture, learn African American history, which we never was taught. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, like, I would love to be in those rooms, like when Martin was about to give the "I Have a Dream" speech, and like, what was that like? You know, 'cause it's a crazy story to it. My godfather was actually with him the night before. I was very close to Dick Gregory, my godfather's best friend. There's a bunch of people in the room, and they decided to put Martin last, even though he wasn't the best speaker. Abernathy was the best speaker, but Martin was the youngest, and they needed youth. Youth always change culture and social communities, right? So they put Martin last. So Martin goes up on stage, the March to Washington. He starts, and the night before, they're like, "Don't do I Have a Dream." We heard it 1,000 times. Just don't do it. Like, we're tired of hearing it, Martin. He's like, "I got a new speech," right? He goes up on stage and he starts the speech, and he's bombing it. People are walking away. Mahalia Jackson yells, "Martin, Martin, I have a dream," and he switches to the "I Have a Dream" speech. And he said it with so much passion and conviction, it became one of the greatest speeches in the world. And that to me is like so important. It's like, your greatest mistake can be your greatest triumph, right? But how quick can you transition, right? Don't get caught up in what you think you're supposed to do. Get caught up in what you feel is right and what you need to do. And I wish I was in that room, and I wish I could watch like a person be up on stage, and you can feel it when you're on stage. You can feel it if the crowd is feeling you. And his intelligence and wit and creativity of the moment, instinct, to just switch the speech, to me, was brilliant. So all that did was tell me as a young kid, like, don't worry about making mistakes. You're gonna make mistakes. You gotta make mistakes in order to find your success. And you just try to not make the same mistake twice. But sometimes you're gonna do it. You know what I mean? It's 3-4 times, who knows? Right. But then it's that one time you figure it out. Just don't ever give up. And that's the era I would love to be in.
Man, now you got me wanting to get back in there. Because I like, you're right. That's what you learn. That's good. And that's a good lesson for our youth to understand, is not giving up. Yeah, great. So I know you played a lot of basketball. So this might be a hard question, but just off the top of your head, you know, who was that one person or that one person you had to guard that just like, yo, that's that person that made you check yourself like, yo, I got to do this?
It's interesting. I grew up neighbors to Vincent Smith, right? Okay. And Vinny, who played at Schlegel, won a state championship, was always like my idol. Like, I wanted to be Vinny so bad. And he would have Friday night games. It's a testament to him. He would have Friday night games. But I knew if I woke up early enough on Saturday and was shooting in my backyard, he would look out the window, right? He's like 5 years older than me. And he would come outside, hop the fence, and play me one-on-one every Saturday morning. Like, he always beat me, right? But it was like that's the only dude I didn't try to fight when I lost. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he would always, but it was like I wanted my big brother to beat me because he was always schooling me, right? And then my dad had a store on 10th and Oakland, a grocery store and liquor store and car wash. And I would just spend my summer days there. So we would walk on our way to Big 11 Lake, to Gates Barbecue. We would walk past JFK. And I knew if I went inside of JFK, I would see Jabo, right? And I would go watch Jabo shoot, and I would just be sitting in the stands. And every time he would like working out, playing 21, one-on-one, eventually he would look at me and toss me the ball. And we have our little one-on-one session, you know what I mean? So I had those two dudes, like, to me, those are the most impactful dudes in my life in basketball. Like, it wasn't like Michael Jordan, it wasn't like Allen Iverson, it wasn't like it was like those two dudes will forever be my heroes, and no one can ever take their game and their impact away from basketball and KCK.
Well, I love that, man. I love that. Two Dotte bread people made another Dotte bread man. Yeah. Good. I like it. This one, they're gonna say a lot of different things. So we're not negating anybody in this next question. This is just asking you this. So we coming up with, the WYCO 50 greatest players.
Yeah.
Give me, 5 or 6 names. Not in no order or nothing, just 5 or 6 names of the 50 that you know gotta be on there. You feel that way.
I think number 1 has to be Lucius Allen.
Yes.
Everything he accomplished in the many championships as he won, Wyandotte great. I had it. So when I was younger, my dad used to always talk about Lucius, right? Mm-hmm. And I've probably been like grade school, and I didn't know what the hell Lucius was. I'm young, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know those names. I'm thinking Vincent. He's like Lucius. Yeah. And my dad used to always tell me, like, you have to go to UCLA, like Lucius, right? And I'm like, okay, I don't even know where UCLA is. I'm like 3rd, 4th grade, right? And I heard the name so much that eventually it just stuck with me. And the first time I met Lucius was when I actually got to UCLA.
Okay.
And it was like, he's a UCLA point guard legend. He's a college basketball legend. Yeah. Championships he's won, and being drafted, I believe, was 3rd in the lottery, like in the NBA, and winning a championship in the NBA. He was Lucius on a team. People don't realize Lucius on a team with Oscar Robertson and Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's a hell of a team to be on as a point guard. You know what I mean? So to me, he's number 1. Larry Drew has to be up there. Yeah. Vincent Smith, Jabo, and for me, it's another person that I used to go to all the high school games that I would come on my Nerf goal and I would always imagine a lot. My imagination is big, right? Even now, I would come home after the games and be dunking on my Nerf goal in the hallway. My mom be yelling like, "Take your ass to sleep." You know what I mean? Like I just be dunking and be up to like 1 or 2 in the morning. I thought I was Demetrius Floyd, dog.
Oh,
like
D.
Floyd, our version of Larry Johnson, dog. I thought I was D. Floyd, and that was always like that person. Same team with Vinny. Vinny was younger, but I would come home and think I was D. Floyd, and after that, 50 is a big number, dog. So it's a lot of people who impacted the game. Vic and Nate did an amazing job. Keelan Block did an amazing job, and I'm gonna miss people, but off the rib, I just don't know. Big Cheese, David Thompson, Pony, you know what I mean? So, like, you can go down that list. It's just a lot of people. Buki was called. Like, you can just go down the list, you know what I mean? And it's just so many people that that would be dope to just actually do something with that. Yeah.
My dad used to tell me always about Lucius Allen.
Yeah.
So when you said him, that's one of the people that's on my mind. He used to tell me so much about him and how great he was. And like he said, he used to tell me he used to play against him a few times. He would just tell me. So that's always been one of my favorite players.
I don't think he ever lost in college.
So I didn't know that, but my dad said that. My dad's like, he never lost. I'm like,
Never lost a game in college.
I'm like, wow.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. But that's one of them golden years for UCLA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. And to be on that team, you just mentioned something, to be on the team with them 2 greats, to be a point guard. Yeah. Man. That leads me to my last little fun question that we got is everybody, wants to be a point guard. Everybody talking, I want to be a PG out there. What does it really mean to be a point guard? Explain that to us. What does being a point guard mean?
You got to be selfless. Because as a point guard, you can't, when you play the game of basketball as a scorer, you go into yourself. Like, it's always about you. Not in a bad way, but in a way you have to be. You have to score, you have to look for those opportunities, you hunt those opportunities. When you find it, you're over-aggressive. When you are a center, it's the physicality. When you are the wing, it's the scoring. Now everybody's scoring the wing, and at the point, you got to do all of it. So you got to be conscious of your teammates, mindful of your coach, mindful of the defense, the offense, every option, like how to make certain players better. This player likes a bounce pass. This player likes a chest pass. I can't give it to him too early. I got to give it to him later. He deserves the ball early because he has the skill and the verticality to attack. It's like it's 1,000 games within the game when you're a point guard. And it's exhausting. It's mentally exhausting, but I always think the best point guards, what I used to do in grade school is I used to take all our plays that we would get in practice from any team, and I would just write them on paper. and write them on paper and draw them out, and then look for different options and just start morphing and moving it and like turning the paper in different ways so I can see the different angles and different triangles. Because basketball is just triangles. Just keep moving them and moving them and moving them, and how many options can it be? Coach might give me 2 or 3 options. I'm gonna find 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you just need to know where everyone's supposed to be and what's bigger than the actual, play. Like, how do you evolve the play as a point guard? So it's the dopest position to me, but I play the point, so I'm biased, But it's definitely mentally exhausting when you're young, because you're gonna hit some mental blocks. But that's when you really grow if you keep pushing and trying to figure out what it is.
Yeah. I asked that for a couple of reasons. One, because I know you play the point guard, but I also believe basketball is a tool in life.
Yeah.
And I believe the position you play sets up for the position you play in life too. So I said that just kind of leading to some other conversations later on, but for them to understand. Then also we got young ones that's looking at here that's aspiring to be basketball players, and they need to understand what that position is. And that may not be the position that you suited to play, or it may be. Or you got to get a different mindset. Yeah. So that's what that question's for. Yep. Let's talk a little bit about childhood.
Yep.
A little bit. So where were you born? I know that, but where were you born?
I was born in KCK. I was born in Dotte. Grew up Dotte my whole life. I lived everywhere from 59th to 18th and Central to 72nd to 78th. From probably kindergarten until I graduated, probably moved 10 times. 10, 12 times. I lived a lot of different places. All of it was cool with me. It was always disruption and moving, but it became a normality, and it's basically my life now. I'm always moving, working different places, traveling different places. I've never, when I do television, I've done television for NBA TV, Pac-12 TV. Pac-12 is in Oakland, NBA is Turner Network in Atlanta. So it's always constant travel. NBA, if you coach, I'm coaching now for the Raptors. 41 games are on the road, 41 games are at home, so constant travel. So that's basically been my life probably since 5th grade.
Okay, all right, good. So talk a little bit to describe your relationships with your family. So first, describe your relationship with your mom.
Me and my mom is close. My mom is first generation Mexican American. My dad is African American. My mom's parents are undocumented, were because they passed away, rest in peace. And my dad, a lot of people don't notice about my dad. My dad was one of the first blacks to integrate the U.S. Army as a drill sergeant in 54 maybe, right? My dad's old, he had me late when he was 47. But my dad is very humble, doesn't talk about much, but always thinking deep. If you get a chance to talk to my dad, he'll talk, but it gotta be something of substance, and he just starts to break it down. Been at Bethany Rec my whole life because of my dad transitioned from when, crack cocaine era hit our hoods. My dad transitioned from the stores to Parks and Rec. And he wanted to just make sure the kids had a place to stay, a place to play, a community that embraced the people that looked like them. He wanted to make sure basketball was the tool and key for people who can apply themselves to get a higher education, not even go to the NBA. So that's how I kind of just grew up in Bethany.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about your siblings. I know you was 4 brothers and 1 sister. Talk about your relationship with your siblings.
My brothers are older. My mom had my first brother when she was 14, bro. My mom never graduated from high school. I don't know if my mom ever went to high school. Okay. But it's one thing she always pushed us to do was constantly push further. So I'm the 5th boy, and when you're the 5th boy and you got a brother 15, 16 years older, and your brothers are so much older, it's such a big generational gap. You know what I mean? But the thing that I did learn from my older brothers was maturation quickly. I was listening to NWA in the 4th grade. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You're going to hear the music quick. I remember when Michael Jackson came out with the Thriller album. I remember Prince. I remember all the older music because I had my brothers in the house and they would just dominate the house. Yeah. So, but my perspective was different because I went through different things. When they came out of high school, it really was no gang banging. It was just cliques. You know what I'm saying? When we came out of high school, that's when gang banging was at its peak. So it was just a different dynamic. And I was an uncle at an early age, right? So it's the responsibility. It's different ways you look at life, and I had my hardest critics from my brothers because they were so much older in basketball. So I would always hoop with their friends in the backyard when I could. When I was little, they would take my ball and throw it down the hill. You know what I mean? Like get off the court. You know what I mean? I'd get my ball, wait for their ball to roll down and go, then I'd go shoot. And then when I got older, I started to play with them. And it was really cool though because my brother's friends, one in particular who I'm very close to, D. Flint, Daryl Flint, who was unfortunately murdered, he was the toughest person on me when we played pickup. Like he would like low key get me to the point, high key, where I'd be ready to scrap. But he was just pushing my buttons. Little elbow to the chest, hard foul. I'm like 10, 11, 12, 13. But then when I would play people my age, it was so much easier, right? I wasn't afraid of nobody. Like they done roughed me up enough to where I wasn't afraid. Now I'd be ready to fight on my older brother's friends. They just laugh. I'd be pissed. But they kind of like pushed me mentally to get to that point. And then my sister was always just everywhere I've been, she's been. Like she if anyone could really do a bio of my life, she would be the only person that could actually put it all together because her perspective on the whole thing has just always been there. Like if anyone's been with me forever, it's my younger sister.
Okay, good. So if you don't mind, we'll talk a little bit because we have some of our youth that went through some of the same things you did as far as like losing family members a little bit. Can you talk about how you were able to continue to move and get through losing a family member?
So I had a nephew, man, that was probably 7 years younger, and my mom had custody of him. So we know how that goes in the family, right? And so he's basically like my youngest brother. I lost him when he was 17, I was 24, right? And then I lost an older brother. They both were murdered, right? Probably like 7 years ago, right? Murdered in different ways. And losing family members is tough. Losing friends is tough. You know, we came out in the era where we lost a lot of friends. You know what I'm saying? It was always an airbrush t-shirt or a funeral on a Friday. You know, in our adolescent years that kind of morphed us and made death more real. Like, it wasn't like this fantasy thing we saw on television. We was going to funerals and as teenagers, and it was too many people that looked like us. So you start to get in this phase, dog, and that's why I'm Tupac heavy. You started getting this phase where you start to see yourself not older, but see yourself in the same position you see your friends who were deceased, right? Because we mimic and we visualize people that look like us, right? I don't watch a lot of TV, but I'm gonna be like Frank. I never watched the TV show Friends, right? But I doubt if I watch Friends, I say that could be me, right? I'm not gonna ever say that. You know what I'm saying? But you know, we watch other stuff and be like, that could be me. Like basketball, I could see people like I could be that. You know, so like the same thing goes off of television too. So it's a different time though. And what I would tell people, and more than just the kids, the teachers in schools and higher education, less discipline. Like when you discipline a kid, more therapy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Trauma insensitive.
Less discipline, more therapy. Kids act out because they can't express what they're experiencing. Adults do the same thing, right? Yeah. So we have to be mindful of the trauma and the PTSD and, you know, just the things that we all go through coming from the neighborhoods we come from. And less judging, man. Like, have conversations, communicate, connect, and hopefully the kid, he or she can express somewhat what it is. Like, you're not gonna get all of it because trust is so big, and they wouldn't have trauma if their trust wasn't broken. Feel me? Yeah. So, like, you can't expect a kid to go through traumatic experience in private or public and then come to you and just tell you something, whether you look like them or not. Like, it doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? Like, so there's so much to evolve and unpack, but it's definitely purpose to it. And I hope that, you know, our USD 500, our schools, especially where we're from in the Dotte, start to unpack that. Because there's a lot of trauma in these kids, and you see it in the schools. You see the explosions. Yes. Kids don't just go to school like, I'm just going to explode. I was one of those kids. Suspended 13 times, expelled once, arrested 3, all in high school. Like, I was one of those kids, but no one ever wanted to have a conversation on the why. You know, now everyone wants to give me a damn award for programs. Like, it was the same people try to kick me out of school. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, it's a crazy spectrum for me, you know? And it's like, all I ever needed at a young age was someone to just talk to me to understand the why. Build a relationship, stop celebrating me because I score points. Look at the other stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, I needed that help. And I found, for myself, mental therapy, if that makes sense.
Okay, I like it. You know, one thing that I got to give a big up to, you know, I work in the school district, is that they have started pushing to be a trauma-sensitive school district.
That's dope.
That was one thing that I love, because I believe, just like you, I'm telling you, kids are coming to school and you saying they bad. No, they're not bad. They acting out. No, it's not acting out. They don't know how to express what's going on.
You know, check this out. So, because we come from economic challenged environments, right? Economically challenged communities. We normalize things that in the suburbs will tear a kid up. We normalize divorce. Mm-hmm. We normalize parents being separate, one parent being gone. Yeah. In the suburbs, that is like, right. like in the suburbs, like we got to get you to therapy immediately. Right. And here in the Dotte, we're like, okay, move forward.
Like it's normal.
Like it's not normal.
It's not.
Right? So these kids need space. All people need space to say, just because that's not traumatic to you, it's traumatic to me. Right? And that got to be respected. There's no checkboard mark. There's no board that says, okay, trauma 1, trauma 2, trauma 3. The grade is higher. There's no board for that, because we're all unique, you know. So let's embrace the uniqueness. Let's push it forward. Let's make it and our used to be taboo. You know, we grow like, you better not tell our business when you go to school, get your ass whooped. You know what I mean? Yep. Like let's push forward and just educate and enlighten and realize, we all have these challenges, no matter who you are, no matter how much money you make or what success you have. Everyone has it. How are we going to resource it? Right? How are we going to get the right things and right people around us to make us better people mentally? Because this is what I've been in therapy for a long time, dog. Mm-hmm. It's this thing I call EMDR, right? It's very intense therapy. And this is interesting. It's the fight, flight, and freeze, right? Mm-hmm. And the last one is the last F, and it's sexual, right? When you have a traumatic experience, the brain immediately freezes. It stops sending signals from left to right. I call it like a handshake, right? Like through electronics. Like electricity has a handshake. The brain is all electric, right? Mm-hmm. So when it stops sending the signals, you get stuck. You become frozen. And then you just repetitive behavior. You got to unfreeze that. And there's certain unique ways to unfreeze, and only a professional can do it. We can't heal ourselves. Our friend can't talk us out of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you really got to seek it. And I'm glad USD 500 is putting resources behind that, because, you know, the other way hasn't been working. Like, all the fights we see in USD 500, that ain't nothing new. We graduated in the 90s, right? Yeah. It's the same thing. It's just now you can do this. So it looks like it's more. It's not anything new. So that way has failed. Like the disciplinary stuff is failed. It's talking about reforming, you know, social police issues. Reform the schools. Like, all that needs to go away. It needs to be revamped, you know?
Yeah. I was so, just pleased at the fact that they sent 8 of us from my school and more in the district. Like, it was 8 for every school. They sent us to training, trauma-sensitive training. It was a week, you know. So I'm just happy to see that that's moving, because our kids need it, our community need that if we're going to move. And I believe that's part of what the Jegna Klub. I just believe that the children, we got to build them for the future. We can't build the future for them. We got to build them, and we start with that right there.
Yeah.
So.
Hello. My name is Erin R. Jones. I am the founder and CEO of Sweeties Teas. I connected the dots with the Jegna Klub and became an official partner of the Evening Social Podcast.
Let's move a little bit to schools, where you went to school. So where'd you go to grade school?
I went to grade school, Hazel Grove, which was a dope experience. I had teachers that looked like me, and that might have been the last time. And it impacted me in so many different ways because those teachers lived in my same neighborhood. Like, it's just different when you have a teacher who drives into your community and drives out. I feel like, regardless of what they say, you are not connected. We can debate that all day.
Yeah.
Because I'm not connected to your neighborhood when I drive in and drive out.
Right.
So how you gonna be connected to mine? And then it's different when you have a teacher who you outside playing and they pull up in front of your house, roll down their window, and have a conversation because they live around the corner. Right. I had a teacher like that named Miss Washington. And I was like, man, she's like the most beautiful woman in the world. She looked like, Whitney Houston. Like, she was just beautiful, right? Yeah. And Miss Washington was just that teacher of excellence that had that connectivity to her neighborhood, that created a respect in the classroom. And Miss Ramos, who was our music teacher, was phenomenal, teaching us about a lot of cool different, our culture and through songs, right? The Black National, and all that was just phenomenal, but had every person singing it, you know what I mean? But it was like, those people had impacted me the most, even my gym teacher at Hazel Grove, Mr. Vic. And then I went to Coronado. Okay. And Coronado, I love my time at Coronado, but Coronado for me was very traumatic for me. Like, 6th grade, 2nd, 3rd month into middle school, guy comes into the cafeteria and starts shooting kids. Boom, 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 boom. That was Coronado, and I remember it happened on a Wednesday. I'm in the cafeteria, everyone's running, kids are getting shot, we go into lockdown, and we didn't have school Thursday, Friday, but we was back at school with Monday, no therapy. So like, when I see it happening in the suburbs now, this major outcry for help, which is good, but where was ours?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm talking about. So, like, miss me with the kids are worse today. Miss me with that.
Yeah.
The programs and the outreach never evolved. Right?
Yeah.
That's my thing. I'm reverse engineered to the beginning. But Coronado was great for me in sports because I was hooping, right? I was finding myself. And then I used to walk home to I was at 59th Street at the time. I would cut through Schlegel, and I would see this dude running on the track every damn day. And like, this dude is committed. Like, I'm walking home with cupcakes. Like, this dude is on the track. He older. He goes to Schlegel, but he is committed. I feel bad. I'm like, yo, I need to get in the backyard and start hooping every day. Because this dude is here every day. And I didn't know what the dude was. And then as I got older, eventually went to Washington High School, went to Schlegel, then I went to Washington High School, and then I went to UCLA for basketball scholarship. And as I was going to UCLA basketball scholarship, that dude who was running on the track was winning gold medals, Maurice Green. And I remember him walking into one of our first practices, and it's about to start. He just, you couldn't come to the court, you had to stand up top. And he was like, Wyandotte County. And I was like, Mo Green. I was the little kid, bro, like, watching you. You inspired me, right? Yeah. And he was like, yo, take my number. Whatever you need, just call me. And that's how we connected. And to this day, we've been very close. So it's crazy how certain people, I always say this, you never know who's watching you, where they can help you with an opportunity or inspire someone else. And I was watching Vinny. I was watching Jabo. I was watching Mo Green. I didn't even know Mo Green, right? And then I eventually aspired. I was watching D. Floyd. I started to aspire to be as great as them in my mind. And that means go hard every day at my craft. Every day. When people was going to prom and homecoming and winter formal, I was in the gym. I didn't want to put on no suit. I wanted to get to the gym. My senior year, my mom was like, you have to go to a school dance and at least give me a picture. So I would go to the dance, stay for 5 minutes, take a picture, and bounce and go right to the gym. When people was going to like the high school parties, the high school clubs, I was in the gym. I didn't go to no high school parties, no high school clubs. I didn't do none of that. And it made me socially awkward when I finally went to a club at 26. When I finally started drinking at 26, it made me socially awkward, but I was already a multi-millionaire, so I didn't care about being awkward. You know, like you have to put your, I say this all the time, you can't tell me you want to be successful and 95% of your time is doing BS. You don't want to be successful. Right. It ain't, you can't tell me, oh, like it's too many challenges, I can't do it. I came from Kansas with no social media. Wyandotte County, where KCMO don't even write about us in the Star. Right. They don't respect us at all. The Star newspaper never respected it. To this day, I don't see no COVID cases in the KC Star about KCK. Right. You know what I'm saying? I don't see what they talk about. It got to be extremely violent for us to get written about. It's no positivity for us. We don't have a newspaper, right? Right. You have this. Just getting what you do and do that all the time. I don't care where you are. I don't care who's not watching. You will make it. You just cannot give up. The minute you give up, you lose. I don't care if you make it 20 years from now. People are like, oh, so look, I've been playing basketball since second grade. What, 7? I never got a paycheck till I was 22. That means I worked for free for a long time before I got a paycheck. So stop worrying about the money. Commit to the craft. The money will always find you, right? And that's like kind of like my inspirational like mindset behind the whole evolution of schools and how it all happened and came together.
Okay. I do got a couple questions for your schools. One is, how did it make you feel when you seen them shut down Coronado and West and then build Gloria Willis?
You know, Coronado for me was always, I'm glad they got rid of that carpet we had. We had carpet in this on the court. You know what I mean? I was getting people 40 on carpet, bro. You know, in the Black House, you can't play on no carpet. You get spanked, you know what I mean? So for me, I think honestly, man, I think it's the evolution. I think it's about time. Our kids need to see advance in modern schools and technology. Now, it's one thing I learned for working with the Spurs, right? Because I started coaching. When I started coaching the NBA, I started coaching with the Spurs. It's one thing I learned, and they believe in this. It doesn't matter how much money you put. For them, it was like, get the best players, right? In the NBA, you pay the best players. Mm-hmm. And they would say it doesn't matter how many great players you get to put on your jersey. So for the schools, it doesn't matter how many dope schools we build. The only thing that matters is what's inside of those schools and those players, right? The character, the integrity, the communication, the evolution. It's a dude named Earl Nightingale. I would ask every teacher or young person to aspire to listen to him at night. He's dope. YouTube him. He says something that I always and never will forget. He said, when you start leading your age, you start to lead the dead. You have to lead from the youth perspective. Don't be coming at these kids telling them how much you know. Tell them how much you didn't know, right? Mm-hmm. Understand where they are. I hate it when people would come talk to me and they'd be like in this suit and they like look rich, telling me this is how you do it. I'm like, bro, I only wear suits back then for one reason, two reasons, church and funerals, right? That ain't inspiring me. I want somebody to come back that can relate to me, be relatable, right? And if you, even Greg Popovich, who is coaching the Spurs, is reading books on black culture to be relatable to black players. And the last time I checked, he's one of the most decorated NBA coaches ever. So if Coach Popovich can read those books, so can teachers who don't understand the community, right? Yeah. Coach Wooden, who won his first championship at the Municipal Auditorium, and that was Lucius Allen's coach, right? Mm-hmm. Coach Wooden refused to play in the Final Four because they wouldn't allow blacks in Kansas City to stay in the same hotel as whites. The next time he made it, the NAACP was like, win, play and win, and then talk about it, right? He even morphed to understand the black community, to enrich himself in education, right? So all these schools are dope, and teachers all have good intentions, but it's not easy being a teacher, right? On any level, even on my level, coach. If you're a great coach, you're a teacher, because you're teaching, right? You're teaching a skill and you're teaching life. It's hard teaching kids, and it's hard teaching 13 multi-millionaires to share one basketball, right? It's difficult, right? So you're always gonna have your challenges, but challenge yourself before you start challenging these kids to grow and morph, because kids respect that. Kids will see the evolution, and kids will start to connect to the light. You know, if that makes sense.
Man, it makes a lot of sense. One thing I always say is kids are the best judgment of intentions.
Yeah.
If you got true intentions, they'll start leading to you. But if you don't have intentions, if you're just driving in and getting a paycheck, they know that.
Yeah.
So you don't have no connection with them, and that's one of the problems. So I like how you put that. It doesn't matter how much money you spend, how many bills, it matters what's in them.
Yep.
And I like that. Can we talk just a little bit before we get to college? Talk a little bit about high school. I want to ask you, you started out at Sligo. What prompted the transition to Washington?
For me, Sligo was a good experience. Bad fit for my style of play.
Okay.
I'm not robotic in my game, and Sligo had a robotic system, right? You come down and you just like, I'm from the hood, bro. Like, you know, like I need some freedom, like, because basketball to me was at that point was my therapy, right? Because you know we didn't know about therapy mental therapy back then.
It was even taboo a little bit.
Yeah, it was taboo, right? So basketball to me was my therapy. It was like my chance to be an artist. It's abstract art to me. And this is knowing your community. I've always been the unapologetic kid or grown man in any room, right? You can't talk to me any type of way, right?
Okay.
We're in a huddle. I didn't run the play. The play wasn't open. I went and tried to score. The JV coach at the time was the assistant coach, was the head coach, because the head coach was going to a funeral. We get into the huddle, and he has some choice words for me. I was 14. I graduated when I was 17. I graduated early from high school, 17. So I was 14 at the time playing varsity. And we were playing center there to Jeff Dayton. Remember Jeff Dayton?
I remember that.
Cowboy, we probably beat them by like 40 that game. Our team was cold. And so we get in the huddle, and he goes, like, you know, starts cussing at me.
Yeah.
I go, look, the play wasn't open, right? In middle school, I was average 40, right? I know how to hoop, right? At Coronado, I average 40. I was like, yo, the play wasn't open. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get off a shot. He's like cussing me out. I said, go to the end of the bench. Well, look, you can't belittle a player. Right?
Right.
Creates conflict.
Right.
So I go, all right, I go to the end of the bench. He goes, nah, go wait in the locker room till the game is over. I said, yo, this isn't a huddle.
Whoa, okay.
I said, if you send me to the locker room, I quit. I'm not going to sit there till the game is over. You're not going to embarrass me. He's like, go to the locker room. Went to the locker room, came back, threw my shoes in the stands, transferred, right, to Washington. I don't know where I was going to go to school at. Could have been anywhere, like maybe Wyandotte, I don't know. And at that point, we had 2 different addresses, right? 2 different ones. So I was like, looked at my mom, my dad was like, we out. And this is interesting because people in that time, high school coach was everything. Like, it was like God.
Yeah.
Right? Can end your career. You might not play again in high school. You might not go to college. But then I realized that was all fake. It was fluff, right?
Yeah.
But when you go to a community and all these kids have is a sport, it's like during the pandemic when everyone was flipping out over toilet paper. When it's only one option, desperation is at its height. So you can control those people. And that's what it was trying to play sports in KCK in the 90s. You were scared. But to me, I just knew something was different, right? Because I was playing travel basketball at a high level. And to me, high school was at a low level, right? Because I never seen any of these coaches ask about my high school coach from colleges. Right. But but the high school coaches makes you think they had this power. So literally the next day I have a meeting with the head coach who came in town, the principal at Schlegel. This is a crazy story, bro. And they try to talk me out of transferring. And I'm like this. If you don't look like a certain group of people, that means you don't have community wealth to talk to that individual a certain way. You gotta have community wealth. If you live in my hood and you don't look like me, you might have some community wealth because I'll see you a lot, right? Yeah. But culturally, if we don't have any relations of community wealth, anything, like every group of people have community wealth. It's certain things each ethnicity can do that the other can't. Right. Some way more than others, but it's certain things, right? So I was like, I don't want to be here. We don't have any black coaches. I want to leave. And they try to talk me out. I went to print my mom, my dad, the head coach now, and the principal of Schlegel. And they go, that would be a bad decision. I go, I'm leaving. So it's okay. Back then they gave you a transfer paper. And you had to go to every teacher in the school to get your grades, right, to go to the next school. You had to knock on the door. Right. I'm transferring. Imagine that process is stupid.
It's stupid. And
a kid shouldn't have to do that.
You shouldn't.
It should be an administrator that gets all the grades and they send it up. But you got to go to 7 different teachers. Most kids are afraid to do that. Conflict, right? I'm knocking on them doors, interrupting classes. Transferring, what? Dog, every teacher gave me a D and F. Every teacher. So I get straight D's and F's when I transfer to Washington. I'm like, I just played last night. I was able to play last night with straight D's and F's. Right? But that's what Schlegel's energy, right? Which is cool, because they had to see me twice a year for the rest of my eligibility. So the state of Kansas didn't know what to do. It never happened. So they created this rule: if you transfer, you have to sit out 10 games, right? I go to Washington, black head coach, black assistant, white assistants. It's a collage of what I love, diversity, right? But Washington had the little shorts. They wasn't really the cool basketball school to go to. It was either Schlegel or Wyandotte. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I go there because, C.J. Horner's my boy, and he goes there. Yeah. I don't know anyone at Washington. Chris Chestnut, I know he's good. Chris Weems was good. You know what I mean? So I'm coming from Weems at Schlegel, Chestnut's at Washington. And I get into practice, I'm like, yo, these shorts little as hell. I got to wear these little shorts in practice? Smaller than the shorts they wear today. They wear them little shorts today, smaller than that. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Our jerseys are terrible. It's just a different environment. And the first game back is against Schlegel. I don't think they didn't beat Schlegel in forever, years. Right? Came back. And back then you could play 7 quarters. You know what I'm saying? Because I was a freshman, so I played 2 quarters JV. And I noticed at halftime of JV, that thing was sold out, right? Came in and played the game, the varsity game, 4 quarters. We win the game. And I never forget this moment. I'm pushing on a fast break. And this is why basketball is dope. You can just, I don't know how it clicks, but sometimes you can just click and see things you never even thought of. So I'm pushing on a fast break, and I see Chestnut, filling my back right shoulder. I just drive at my player and just drop it between my legs, boom, and spin out. Chestnut come, hits a three, crowd goes crazy. I'm like, I gotta put that in my bag. Like, I've never done that before, you know what I mean? I gotta add that to my bag. We win the game, everybody rushed the court. It was a dope experience, and it taught me a lot, man. It taught me this, and this is important for all coaches. Basketball players are not possessions. You don't own them,
Right.
especially the black ones. You don't own them, right?
Yeah.
So if a kid feels like his best opportunity is elsewhere, you can have a conversation of the why. But as that kid transitions and how you respond shows your character. Because what's the goal? It's for all of us to get them to college.
Right.
However they get there. It ain't through me. I don't want to be the gatekeeper. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, quit being possessive. It's really scary how possessive these coaches are of these kids. It's not normal. It's low-key on some illegal stuff. Like, chill. You know what I'm saying? Don't be possessive. Hey, look, I wish you the best of luck. Hit me anytime, because we are supposed to be a village, a community, right? And to me, that was basically my basketball career in high school.
Okay. That's one thing I do believe. I believe that, one, I don't like the term my players. That's not your player. You don't own that player.
Yeah.
So I like. But the other thing is, man, it's supposed to be many people helping all the youth to get there. This player's going to come between many different hands. And the happiness and the end result is what's supposed to be what we all supposed to be pushing for. So a player not happy here, okay, man, go somewhere where you can be happy. I'm glad I had the opportunity to be a part of this process for you, but go somewhere where you can thrive and do it, because that's what the whole goal is.
Yep.
So I agree with you on that. I've never liked that type of talk or that type of attitude.
Yeah.
Man. So one more question. You played for one of my favorite people.
Yeah?
Leonard Sparkman.
Coach Sparkman.
Coach Sparkman was a PE teacher at Wyandotte when I was going to Wyandotte.
Yeah.
I remember him so much because he looked like me.
Yeah.
Was in a leadership position.
Yeah.
And let me know that, man, people who look like me can be in leadership positions, leadership roles. You know what I mean? And I like to see what, his whole mindset of how to be. The favorite thing I always remember, me and some of my classmates now, is he used to always say about personal hygiene.
What would he say? What would he say?
Personal hygiene, fellas. You think you running around here smiling at these little girls, smelling like a trash can. He used to say that all the time,
Oh, man.
And I still remember that to this day. I was one of the kids, I took a shower after every gym. I took a shower room. But it's because that stuck with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I always remember that. Do you have a moment or
a moment?
I know you probably got a lot of them, but you got one.
With Coach Sparkman? How much time we got, dog? How much? Okay, so look, I got tatted early in life. Like, when people tell the story about me and they speak on me now, they act like I was this kid who walked this straight line, and it was like never like I always loved like, oh, Earl Watson did this and Earl Watson, but it was always like this high level positive like Shane Battier type person. That wasn't me. So I got my first tattoo when I was 14, right? And that's my freshman year at Washington. And I remember Kansas State Basketball Association said I couldn't wear my tattoo. I had to tape it up. I'm like, yo, this is some, this is not even legal, dog. Like, but I ain't gonna fight this, right? Coach Sparkman used to be like, so, son, you want to get all these tattoos, son? You out there looking like a billboard, son. Like, he was just be on me, dog. Like, so I would play, I would leave in May, and I wouldn't come back to Kansas City until like a week before school, August, like playing tournaments, like travel basketball. And first day of school, somebody always come find me and be like, Coach Sparkman looking for you. I'm like, here we go. I walk into his classroom at the end of the day, first day of school. he'd be so mad. He'd be slamming books around, shutting windows, asking where I was all summer. And he'd be like, you know what, son? Your ass is going to be on JV. So, I'm like, Coach, like, I just played in for like 300 coaches. He's like, I don't care. Your teammates was up here working hard. You're flying around the country, son, on vacations. And I'm like, Coach, I wasn't on vacation. Your ass is going to be on JV. I'm like, all right, Coach, forget it then. JV going to go undefeated. Get your ass out of my classroom. Like, just kick me out. So every day, every year until my senior year, you start the conditioning, right? They put like the varsity players over here, the JV player. He always put me on JV for like a day, right? And Coach Black was the assistant, and they would like low-key be talking about me on the sideline, loud enough so I can hear. Coach Black would be like, I don't know, Coach, he kind of too good to be on JV. He's like, I don't give a damn what he is. He's on JV, like, while we're, like, conditioning. You know what I mean? Like, then I'll dive on the, ground for a loose ball, and Black would be like, oh, no, Coach. A lot of players ain't doing that on JV. He'll be like, I know he's there today. And I was like, I'll just dominate JV practice and just bounce, right? And he would always be on me, man. He would be like, your leadership is too aggressive. This ain't the NBA, son. Quit being hard on your teammates. But I was like, I want to win. Like, I don't do this to look at the girls. Like, I do this because I love this. Like, I really love this. It was a grade school coach I had, and he put us all on the line. And he was like, how many of you will die to make it to the NBA? Like, you would physically risk your life and you would die. I was the only one who raised my hand. I was like a no-brainer. Like, what? I risk my life walking to school. I can definitely risk my life, you know what I mean, making it to the NBA. Like, my hand high. Yeah. And I look around, everybody like hands is down. You don't love it. I would risk my life for my children. I would risk my life for my family. I would risk my life for my community to grow. I love it, right? There's a difference between love and like. Mm-hmm. A lot of people like basketball. They don't love it. They ain't gonna give up that date with that girl to go to practice and go shoot by yourself. You know what I mean? Right. They ain't gonna give up hanging out with your homeboys and going to the gym. I gave up all that, bro. Yeah. All of that. So Sparkman is such a big part of my life. He allowed me to be creative. He challenged me, he cussed me out, he held me accountable. Sometimes he held me accountable for things I wasn't supposed to be accountable for, and he always made me go run the hallways in Washington. He kicked me out of practice all the time, right? And say things like, well, you think you a coach? It's like, nah, I am a coach. It was just back then, I just had it in me. Like he would draw up a play, right? And I'll look at it, because I've been drawing plays since grade school. I'll look at it, we'll break the huddle. I'll tell Joe Mack, yo, do the same play, but throw me a lob at the end. Like, don't throw it to the other dude. I'm going to cut back door. He would get pissed. Sub us out, sit us down, cuss at us, sit there for a whole quarter. Like, I probably had more points in high school if I didn't get set down so many quarters, man. That's Sparkman, though. That's smart, dog.
Yeah. Man, one of my favorite people, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but he was genuine.
Genuine, man.
I love him. So one more high school question.
Yeah.
We're going to get to college.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the experience of CMH.
CMH 76ers. We were so far ahead of our time, man. Myron Piggy was the head coach. Jerron Rush, #1 player in the country. Corleone Young, #2 player. Ron Humphrey, #4 player in the country. We have Maurice Evans, Kareem Rush, Mike Miller, Corey Maggette. It was just a program full of pros. But we never really talked about NBA. We traveled. It was the #1 Nike team in the country. We broke a lot of rules that we didn't know existed. The way we traveled, the way we moved. And it's crazy because all the rules we supposedly broke and people went to jail for and people got suspended for now is legal. Name, image, and likeness, right? Yeah. And I say we was paradigm shifters. And anytime you're the first to do something that's never been done, you're going to get crucified. I don't care what it is. Like, the court of public opinion and the court of legal law is going to just come at you. And that's what happened. And it's crazy that everyone wants this story, man. They want to know the stories, and they want to know, like, what went beyond the scenes. And for me, I'm surrounded by all these top players in the country, and I wasn't ranked as high as I was. Probably like my highest rank was probably like 55, you know. And these players are all top 5, top 10. And I was like, yo, I just wish I could. At that time, I wish I could be on the same college team as some of them, because we had such a close bond. And then I went to UCLA, right? So I was blessed. But then I was like, I wish I could play in the NBA like them. You know, like, that'd be dope. And Jerron was my roommate forever, from all the CMH days through UCLA. And we would sit up at night just talking about stuff like that. But we we would pull up to games, dog, in these, like, you know, rented, like, with, like, those vans. You know, you rent them from, you know, Enterprise or whatever.
Yeah.
And we'd pull up in these vans, and we'd be rocking Bout It, Master P, right? We all had on tank tops, like undershirts. We wear our jerseys out, our shorts like a rag, and the van would be rocking. We'd be going crazy, right, in front of the gym, and then just be rocking, like, just rapping every lyric like we was, like, literally about to have a rumble, dog, just like, and then we just bust out the van. And every gym we played in, it was at least 300 coaches, 400 coaches, sold out, packed. And it's always the biggest national game in the country wherever we played. And you had these dope experiences, and it really allowed me to be very comfortable being on a platform with a lot of expectations, you know what I'm saying? Okay. But some crazy stories in there, man. It's like, it almost has to be scripted, dog. Like, you have to write this and, like, script it and, like, put it out. And I don't talk on camera like that about this. I've never talked about this. You know what I'm saying? It's just,
yeah, understandable.
it's just, I'm gonna give you one wild story.
Okay.
Right? And I'm gonna save the rest for a TV show, right?
Okay.
But we're at UCLA. Me and Jerron coming back from class. We walk into our dorm room, and there's an FBI agent sitting in our front room. I don't know who the hell let him in, because he must have had a key. And he was like, we need to talk to you about CMH. That's just a cliffhanger, I'm leaving, bruh. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how crazy it was.
Yeah.
Like, crazy. When I say crazy, like, crazy. And I will say this about Myron Piggy, and I have to say this on camera. Myron Piggy has a long past of criminal history. He was our coach. How he became our coach has to be written. He wasn't our original coach. But he was the only person that our, at that time, local sponsor, Kansas alum, thought could relate to the players. So he put him in power. He tried putting someone else in power. They wasn't from our hood. We wasn't rocking, right? So they put him in power, and he was relatable. He took our team from just a locally ranked, a locally sponsored team to the biggest Nike deal in the country, right? Which pissed off a lot of people in basketball. Pissed them. I'm talking about, like, haters to the 10th, right? Yeah. But it gave us this ramp and this platform, right? We ramped it and platformed it. So no matter, this is interesting, no matter his criminal history, you had a person who was sacrificing his time to put us somewhere, as he would say, I don't want y'all to make the same mistakes I made. Like, when you get caught off in that street life, that's for life. It's hard to get out of that. Like, it's a lot of get back, right? We know, right? So, like, he just really just pushed us forward. And through this whole process, I just worked hard. When I saw players didn't work hard or players wasn't working hard enough, I try to outwork everyone. And that's why I say you never know when it's going to happen. Like, if you would have looked at that team and been like, do you think he'll play? And people like, nah, he won't play. Played 13 years in the NBA. The average career in the NBA is 3. Average. Only 5,000 people ever on earth played in the NBA, ever. I played 13 years till I got just injured. I was like 34, 35 when I retired. That's like unheard of, right? So CMH, 76ers story, I gotta tell it. A lot of people try to tell it, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of people didn't make it to tell it, right? They never made it to come back and tell it, right? So like, it's gonna be dope when I finally put all that to paper, like pen to paper and just like, whatever it is, we gotta shoot it in Kansas City though, like, you know what I'm saying? It gotta be our story. It can't be Chicago based on, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it gotta be our story.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you giving us a snippet
Yeah.
and talking. Now, let's UCLA. I heard you talk, you know, UCLA with your dad. He was telling you about Lucius Allen, how to go there. But how did you get to UCLA?
Man, I got to UCLA just playing in like AAU basketball circuits, Nike camp, which is crazy. Nike camp, I was teammates with this dude in high school named Baron Davis, right? And I didn't know who Baron Davis was, but he was my teammate in Nike. And we crushed Nike camp as teammates. Like the chemistry was like just ridiculous. And that's when my buzz really started coming. And so Nike camp, they have like this top 20, top 15 game, top 35 game. I made the top 35 game, which is big, then top 60. And from that moment on, just the buzz just kept going. And then we went on the summer circuit, and I just started like hitting game winners, like just killing. I just went on this run, like in Vegas and Long Beach, just on this just crushing it. And that's how I got to UCLA. Like, I always knew I wanted to go to UCLA, and this is why. On my unofficial trip to UCLA, our team went. It was the year before. They wasn't recruiting me. It was recruiting Jerron and Corleone, right? Ron Humphrey, and I don't know if they was even recruiting Kareem Rush at that time. But they made me feel like they were recruiting me. Like sometimes these coaches will talk to one player and not the team. Like, they coach was like cool with the whole, like they made everyone feel welcome and special. And I was like, yo, I'll rock with that. Kansas, Coach Williams did a camp for our AU team. We was probably in middle school, right? Didn't make me feel special. Didn't make me feel warm. It was like this hierarchy, right? I don't do hierarchies. Like I hate everything hierarchy. Like, we're all evil, we're all equal, we're all, like, on the same point, you know what I mean? We're all just there, like, treat everyone equal. And it gave me negative vibes, dog, and it's amazing the impact you have when you little. You know what I'm saying? Like, you remember those vibes. So when KU came into the picture to start trying to recruit me, it was like, I felt uncomfortable, like, because that first impression is everything, you know? And that's how I got to UCLA. It was a no-brainer.
Okay. So, you're there with Baron, man. Talk to me about, because I remember some things. Just remember when you're going and looking, but it's really 6 NBA players. You know, your first year, second year there. Talk to me about, man, them practices. Like, how was that going?
At UCLA?
Yeah.
Practice was crazy, man. It's like every year you say I had like 5, 6 NBA teammates with potential. You know, like if you play in the NBA, right? NBA skill. It was really competitive, very intense. We had long, like 3.5, 4 hour practices. We ran like 4 to 6 17s a day. You know, it was like grit and grind. And people don't realize UCLA is the #1 public school in the country, which means the academics are very hard. Like, there's no easy class. We don't have a gym class at UCLA, right? It's a research institution. So you're writing 25-page papers easy. You know, it just is what it is. And so you're constantly in competition. And then the school at UCLA, as all athletes, we have the most national championships of any university in the country. So, like, you think you dope in basketball, and you got somebody, a gymnast walking in who just won 3 gold medals at the last Olympics. Like, you're not really that dope, you know what I'm saying? Like you get humbled real quick in the training room with people who are athletes at UCLA, and the bar has been set through Coach Wooden, Jackie Robinson, Arthur Ashe, you know, Lou Alcindor, who was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like Ralph Bunche, the first African-American to win a Nobel Peace Prize. Like, the bar is set high for people of color, for black people at UCLA, right? And minorities. So you have that expectation of excellence. There's a lot of pressure, dog. Like now, I'm going from not being written about at the Star to be written about by the LA Times, right? And back then, that's when blogs started. Blogs was starting at UCLA where they get on the blog and blog about you. Okay. They were killing us on the blog. Like just, hiding in bushes and on campus, just like TMZ before TMZ, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'm like, yo, I'm not used to this, dog. Like it was just so much attention. It was overwhelming. And I had some moments where I questioned if I even wanted to be there. My mom was like, you ain't coming back here. I don't know where the hell
where you going?
I don't know where you think you going, but you ain't coming back here. Like you can't come back home. And when you're 17 years old and you live in another city and it's so far away from home and you by yourself, you grow up quick, dog. So I had to grow up quick.
Man, I got two more questions.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get to NBA career.
Yeah.
First question is, everybody knows and hears about these legendary summer games that happen at UCLA.
Yeah.
With all these players. Well, talk to me about how does that play into you and developing you toward getting to the NBA?
Everything. It's everything. Magic Johnson ran the games, right? My first day on campus, I go to the basketball office, it's Coach Wooden. I'm like, Coach, like, big fan from the same city as Lucius Allen. I just want to connect. He was like, take my number, come over anytime. So I wrote down his number, right? I didn't have a cell phone until I got to the NBA, bro. We didn't have money like that. Put it in my pocket. I go straight to Pauley Pavilion, which is our gym. Magic Johnson is doing 3-man weave with like Michael Cooper, like Norm Nixon, Lester Connor, John Sally, like all these older NBA players. And, he steps to the side to meet me, and he was like, 8 o'clock every morning, be here. I'm like, I'll be here tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like we about to run drills and hoop. Be here tomorrow. I never ran drills in my life. I just go hoop. No one taught me drills. So it was there. And the games were so crazy, from Kobe to Shaq to Magic to KG to Mark Jackson to J Kidd to you name it, they were there. And the most unique one for me was Master P. Because like Barron knew I loved Master P, right? Yeah. So I come back to Kansas City for like a week before school started. Barron calls me. House phone, right? Remember house phone? Everybody have house phones? Yeah. I answered. What's up? He's like, bruh, you ain't gonna believe who's here. I'm like, who? He's like, Master P. I was like, what? Like, I gotta get there, dog. Like, I gotta meet him, dog. He gonna be there. How long he gonna be there? I'm on my way back in a week. He's like, he should be here. Man, I get there, dog. Me and Master P developed such a close friendship that he became my college mentor. We would sit after playing pickup. First off, he would mess up every pickup game. Like, he would just mess it up, bro. And I'm like, yo, you can't do that. Like, I don't come into the studio and start trying to rap, messing up y'all session. Like, he just don't stop calling fouls so damn much, bro. Like, you a rapper, dog. You ain't winning this game. Like, you know what I'm saying? You were pros and future pros. So we had these conversations about like wealth and money and mindset and how he did it. And if he lost everything, he could do it again because he did it on his own the first time. You can do it a second, third, and fourth time. And I started asking him about, that's when Snoop left Death Row and went with Master P. Mm-hmm. So I started talking about like, how did he handle that with Suge? Like, it was these crazy conversations, right? And so my senior year, senior day, we're about to play Stanford, #1 team in the country, like on CBS or ABC. It's like an afternoon game. So we're in the locker room. It's like 15 on the clock. No, it's probably like 18, 20 on the clock. We was going to run out at 12, right? So Lav was on the board, just going over the pregame board, right? It's intense. Big game. You know what I'm saying? Last game before the tournament. You want to get ready. Locked in and focused. And I see this big bodyguard dude just walk through the locker room door. And at UCLA is crazy like that. Like, you'll see presidents walk through. You'll see, like, head of CIA walk through. You'll see, like, that time Chelsea Clinton would just walk through because her dad was a president. She went to Stanford. So I'm like, yo, who's this? Who's walking through now? Like, and it was Master P, dog. He interrupted our whole pregame. And Lav was like, started laughing. He's like, what do you can't be in here? He was like, nah, you good, coach. He told coach, you good, right? Nah, you good, coach. He was like, Earl's gonna let you know we here. And like patted his chest, like we here for you, dog. Like senior day, we here. We be in the stands, like I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Uncle Like, I'm sorry, my bad, yo. And like walked out. You know what I mean? But it's like P was impactful for me. If it's weird, you would think it would be. I had my basketball impact,
right.
but for like where I'm from, it was P. And to this day, we still have a close friendship.
That's good. I like one of my biggest things has always been relationships. I always say that it's not programs to change people or school. It's relationships to change people. That's what makes a difference. So our number one pillar is relationship building and networking. And what you're saying fits right into what we do. Is like you have to have a network. You have to have those people that you put in your life, that's in your life, that make impacts for you. And I love it. So I love for you to see that and build so they understand that your pathway to success came with a network too. Yeah. Building relationships. And you don't just get a relationship that's just for the day. Yeah. You have to be able to nurture them and make them last. And then relationships will help them continue to go. So I appreciate you, putting that out there for our youth. As we moving on to the NBA career, 2001, right? That's when the draft? Okay. Can you take us a little bit through the emotion of seeing your name called, being called,
And no emotion, dog.
No emotion.
No. Only time I had emotion in basketball was when I signed a letter of intent to go to UCLA. That's when I cried. Okay. Like I never cried signing any contract for any money. Mm-hmm. Never felt any type of a way. Okay. It was weird. Like it was like I don't get attached. I don't get attached to jobs.
I got you.
Right? So for me it's like it's a business. I gotta go do work. My emotion is do work. Like focus, intent. How can I scale this out? Because back then, second round picks didn't get guaranteed contracts. Okay. Now they get guaranteed contracts. They're like, yo, we can't let them free quickly because they get paid quicker. It's a business for owners too, right? Yeah. So Gilbert Arenas went second round with me, and Gil, I've known Gil since Gil was in high school. We used to give Gil clothes and shoes. He would come play pickup with us at UCLA. Gil was homeless. A lot of people don't know that. He lived out of a car with his dad. So he would come play pickup with us, and we would give him if we had anything, it was his. It was like our little bro. And to see his evolution, it's like I'm always cheering for him, no matter who says what about him. You don't know him, right? Everything he's overcome, he's phenomenal. So he signed a one-year deal. I signed a one-year deal. And it was just intent and focus. And my vet at that time was Gary Payton. I got drafted to Seattle. And GP was notorious for not liking rookie point guards. Like, just notorious. But somehow me and him clicked. Because, real recognize real, dog. You can't in the NBA, you can't fake it. At that time, there was only 12 players on the team. So who you really are is going to come out in the locker room, in practice, or a game. If you a real one, you're going to see it quickly in training camp. If you're not, you going home. You got to send people home, dog. And that's why you can't have any emotion of oh, I'm happy to be here, or, oh, I feel so good, I cried. People are trying to send you home. Gotcha. You know what I'm saying? I've seen players get sent home off a scrap. Off a fight to get sent home. They bring 18, 20 people to training camp, 12 make the team. And if you're on a one-year deal, they'll pay your money to go home, right? So to me, it was just that Dotte mentality really came out. So all the times playing at Bethany, all the times playing in my backyard with my older brothers, all the times I got into fights my whole life, walking home from school, all that helped me stay in the NBA for 13 years. It's that toughness, right? That mental and physical toughness that we just organically have coming up through Wyandotte County.
Yeah. Okay. Can you give me just a game day in the NBA?
Game day is easy, man. Game day is you practice from 10 to 11. They call it a shoot around, or 11 to 12. You come back. Vets got to be back game start at 7. Vets got to be back around 5:30. And you know, if you like 4 years or less, you got to be back around 4.
Okay.
Right? I would get there at 3. Even my whole career, 3 o'clock. Get a lot of work in. Be early. Practice is easy. Practice might be from 10 to 12. You get there like 8:30. You go through all your, you know, physical therapy, weights, shots, practice, maybe stay after, ice, whatever. Summers are hard. Summers are hard. I would work out in the summer from 8 to 10, skill training, right? Mm-hmm. Then from 11 to 12, I'll go do weights. I would eat 12:30 to, 1:30. Then I'll be back at the gym at 2:30 to play from 3 to 5:30, and then maybe shoot after. Just get up like 100 shots, make 100 shots. That was Monday through Friday, right? So you get home, be 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. You started at 7 in the morning. It's Monday through Friday. Saturdays, I would try to find a way to do more creative stuff. It was yoga, it was Pilates, get up shots, bike ride on the beach. You got to stay active every day. Sundays, I was more chill, but I have to get moving. I can't lay around, whether it was swimming in the backyard or, going to the gym or 15, 20 minutes on the bike or getting up more shots, just touching the basketball. Summers are hard, so off seasons is always the hardest.
Okay, so it really is no off season for real.
Yeah.
That's the harder season.
Yeah.
Good. I like it. So you're moving into coaching.
Yeah.
What moved you into coaching? What made you say, hey, I'm through playing.
Yeah.
I'm going to coach?
I never wanted to be an NBA lifer, dog.
Okay.
And this is my 17th year total in the NBA. I never thought I would be a lifer, but it looks like I might be a lifer. I was playing for Indiana, and our coach, Jim O'Brien, his father-in-law is Dr. Jack Ramsey, rest in peace. Assistant coach was Dick Harder, who was one of the most famous assistant coaches in NBA history. He was a coach at Oregon Ducks University, brilliant coach. Pat Riley in the Knicks, he was like that defensive toughness coach, right?
Okay, yeah.
Larry Bird, Frank Vogel was another assistant. Larry Bird was the president, right? Mm-hmm. Exit meeting. So exit meeting is the end of every NBA season. You have a one-on-one meeting with the coach, the GM, and the president. And Larry goes, I think you should be an NBA coach. I go, man, I'm 30 years old. I'm not ready to do that yet, right? I can still play. He's like, nah, we really want to hire you now. Join the staff. I'm like, nah, I'm not ready. He goes, well, start putting it out there that you're going to be a coach. Say it now. Just start putting it out there. And I was like, maybe I should be a coach. Well, Larry Bird said I should be a coach. I should be a coach. So that's how I started putting it out there, and that's how it just took off on its own.
Okay. And the first one was Austin Spurs. Is that correct? Okay, that's the D League.
Yo, so I got hired by the Spurs.
Okay.
This is crazy, dog. Tell you the process of this. My life is nuts. I'm sitting on Hollywood Boulevard. I'm about to eat a sub sandwich. It's during the lockout, 2010 or 11, one of those years.
Okay.
11 or 12. This dude pacing back and forth. And it's Hollywood Boulevard. It's like crazy, different people there, right? It's like, you gotta be careful on Hollywood Boulevard.
Okay.
Dude goes, Earl, like the fourth time. I'm like, damn. I'm like, what's up? He goes, man, I've been looking for you. I'm like, no, you haven't. I don't know you. He said, no, we went to school together, UCLA. I'm like, oh, okay, what's up, bro? He's like, yo, where's Barron? Me and Barron, we used to be together all the time. I'm like, I don't know, I lived with Barron in probably 10 years. I don't know, where be we, only in college we lived together. Now we got our own thing, right? Yeah. He goes, yo, that's cool. He goes, my boss's son's having a birthday party tomorrow. Can you come? I said, can't rent me for parties, dog. Like, I don't show up in my uniform and be like, 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 you know what I'm saying? Like, where are we going with this, homie? Like, this is getting real strange. He goes, no. My boss is the CEO of Disney. His name is Bob Iger. Can you come? I go, yo, shoot my number, bro. Hit me. I'll come. Next day, go to like Pacific Palisades. Pacific Palisades is like, people know about like Beverly Hills and Bel Air, but a lot of wealthy people live in Pacific Palisades, right? Overlooks the ocean.
Okay.
Get to Pacific Palisades. I just remember like big wall, crazy oak tree, probably been there forever. I get out the car. He meets me and greets me. Bob Iger's wife comes out. It's Willow Bay. I lose my mind. NBA inside stuff. You and Ahmad Rashad. I grew up watching you.
Yeah.
We didn't have no NBA TV.
Nah.
I only know about the league on Saturday mornings, right? Like, I was like, glued. You changed my life. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, I love UCLA. I watch, like, we having this love fest, right? Yeah. And I'm like, he's always gonna meet the kids, bro. This is a crazy story, dog. We go to like the tennis court. It's like two black kids pop locking like a Dave Chappelle skit, right? And I'm like, yo, who's the random two black kids? He's like, oh, their dad's like the president of Universal Music. I'm like, what? As he says that, it's another kid that walks past with a Pistons jersey on. And another kid goes, hey man, your name's not on the back of your jersey. He goes, my dad just bought the team last week. These kids are like 7 years old, right? I'm like, yo, where am I at right now, dog? Like, it's crazy. And then like 10 minutes later, this beat up minivan pulls up. Kid jumps out the minivan. The other kids there go crazy. And the dude that invited me was like, watch this. He's like, hey, what does your dad do? He's like, oh, my dad owns the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm like, yo, where am I at? He's like, it's crazy. So then Bob Iger comes home. And he's like, man, thank you for coming. Please have dinner, cake, and ice cream with us. And if you ever need anything at Disney ever in life, call me. I go, look, no disrespect, but I got my daughter at home. I want to have dinner with my family. I said, but I can buy my own Disneyland tickets. Like, I don't need to call you for Disneyland. I said, give me something that'll change my life. And he told me this. He's like, oh, no one's ever said that. People usually want something, right? People usually want something from you. Never want advice. He goes, so look, I started working in the mailroom. Every promotion I took, I didn't ask how much it paid. I just took it. I didn't care about title. I didn't care about pay. I don't care if it paid less. If it was a step forward, it was a step forward. He said, and I just stayed committed to that process till I eventually became the CEO of Disney. I'm like, that's dope. That's all I need. Thank you. Have a good day. I'll see y'all later. That's all I needed, right? And I bounced. Yeah. So when I retired from playing, I had a TV opportunity. This guy who owned 400 companies wanted me to help him run a hedge fund company. I could still play and just be like a player coach. And there was this job from the Spurs that only paid me $10,000. $10,000. And I would be working in the G League and then doing free agency as well for like for their NBA team. And I was like, Bob Iger told me no matter what, stay committed to my purpose. I'm going to take the Spurs job. Now, if I played again in the league, I would have made $2.7 million minimum, right? Mm-hmm. Hedge funds make so much money. You make up to $5 to $20 million a year running hedge funds, right? TV is guaranteed six figures, right? Mm-hmm. Give me the $10,000. They had something that I needed. They had the knowledge on how to be a champion. I needed that. So when I moved to Austin, I basically came out of pocket to live there, right? Mm-hmm. Was in the G League. 13 years of the NBA, I'm coaching in the G League. It was the best time I had coaching up until this point in my life. Changing lives, dog. Changing lives. And I created the free agency pitch for LaMarcus Aldridge with Sean Marks, who is now the GM of the Nets, right? Brooklyn. We created that together for them to get LaMarcus. And that's how I ended up there. And if it wasn't for Bob Iger, I probably would have played another year. I did the hedge fund thing. Like, to be honest with you, I'd have been like focused on what pays the most, what pays the, you know what I mean? Like, that's not how it works. It's not how it works, you know?
Okay. Man, nice. I like that. That's a good statement by Iger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like that. So I told you I was gonna try to get you out of here at a certain time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to keep
Yeah.
my word.
Yeah, I go to my son's first soccer game, man.
Okay.
I put him in soccer, dog. He needs some footwork, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's my son is about to start soccer too.
Yep.
He's playing football and basketball,
Yep.
but I know that footwork comes from soccer.
Yeah.
So
Tony
he's
Parker.
there too. Yep.
Ginobili.
Elijah Wan.
Yup.
Talked about that. So I just got three questions, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go. First question is, what advice would you give? We got a lot of student athletes going to be paying attention and looking. It's always looking at what advice would you give them about desiring a career, and in one, especially in professional sports?
I believe in right now the 40 or 50-year life plan. The lab taught us this. Like, you write it out.
Okay.
And it sounds stupid, right? But it's power. Like, anything you write or you say or you do, you will eventually in your life execute it. You don't know it, but you will. It's called, like, the subconscious, right? So I would write it out and be intentional. And then I always say this, like, to me, the sport is easy. If you do your work, that's the easy part, right? But before that, you get to that part, what's the challenge? Look at your 5 closest friends, right? 5 people you spend the most time with, and that's who you're going to become. They have the most influence over you. Conversations, venting, aspirations, imagination, purpose, goal, energy. Those people are going to change your life. If it's not working and you're not where you want to be, start removing people. You have the power and authority to delete and remove, you know? And sometimes it got to be family. Most of the time, it got to be family. 98% of the time, it has to be family. And it's nothing personal. But we don't have a lot of time here to achieve a goal. Life is fast. I mean, we was just in high school. Looking at people 40-something, like, they old as hell. You know what I'm saying? Now we those dudes, you know what I mean? Like, why are they coming to the gym? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they mess the runs up, they play slow, and you know what I'm saying? They taking water breaks all the time. They taking bathroom breaks in the middle of the game. Like, you just get old, bro. Yeah. And be committed, man. I say this all the time, like, I damn near averaged a triple-double in high school. I think I did average triple-double my senior year. And people still thought I wasn't good enough. But I didn't care. I do not care, dog. I can walk in a room and be the most awkward dude. I don't care. Because the truth is, no one has all the answers. Right. Yeah, we just find what we believe in and we just hold on to it and try to, like, you know, tunnel vision focus on what we believe in. No one has all the answers. Like, I can't give you all the answers. I can just give you what worked for me. And it worked different for Barron, and it worked different for Matt Borns, who was my teammate. It worked different from Sean Fordham, who was my teammate, who was on ESPN basketball right now. Ron Hollins, like, it just works different for each person, right? So find what works for you, commit to it, put all your time into it, and just be 1% better than yesterday. If I'm a basketball player, and you know, I'm making 100 threes, and it took me 130 shots to make it. Tomorrow I want to be 129. You know what I'm saying? If I'm in there and it took me, you know, my workout lasted an hour 15, I want to get better, make the same amount of shots or more in an hour. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just want to micro victories will lead to a macro impact. You know, people like, all at once don't work, bro. No one can do all at once. Just give me the little victories, dog. And as they add up, it'll look like I did it all at once, because the world gonna tell you late. The world is always the last person to say you're amazing, right? The world is just bandwagon, you know? They gonna say, boo, you suck, you're terrible, you're not possible, it's impossible. I knew you could do it. You know what I'm saying? I've had people, man, be on my inbox, man, and it'd be crazy, right? They be like talking about how they love me and like, you know, they want money from me, they want this or want that. I'm like, where was you at when I was living by Skateland in those apartments? It's called Westwood. I would come home from school, we didn't have no damn heat. You know what I'm saying? I'm at school, only have $2, $3 for lunch. I can't get much with that. Playing games, hungry as hell. Where the hell was you when I was crying? Yeah. You can't meet me in this journey now and be like, hey, bro, it ain't no hey, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I still got the same friends from grade school, bro, and I'm not changing them. So it's like, stay committed to your craft. Like, block the haters, but sometimes bring them close enough for inspiration and motivation, because you need that edge, and don't give up, man. That's the main thing. I have to be like, Wyandotte County is so talented. Like, so many beautiful people and creative people and talented people and intelligent people. I don't know why we don't believe more. I should not be the only one in the league from the Dotte. I should not be little Janelle walking around my neighborhood, Janelle Monáe, talking about going to talent shows. I seen her do it. Like, it's so, I'm telling you, it's not hard. The hardest part is the commitment. Don't let people tell you it's only 1% that came. Okay, I'm gonna be the 1%. Okay, it's 0.5%. Cool, I'm gonna be the 0.3. Yeah. Like, come on, dog. Don't give up. And if you have that mindset, and I say this all the time, take it as far as you can take it, because maybe your kid is supposed to take it to the height. Yeah. Right? Right. But if you give up early, that means your kids gonna only take it so far. And then their kids, but if you push as far as you can, as a parent, our job is to go far as we can till exhaustion. Yeah. Especially black parents, brown parents, because we started from beyond the starting point, right? We ain't starting at the starting point. We ain't on the line, ready, set, go. Like, they say go for us, and then they drop us off at the track meet after they say go. Like, oh, they've been running for 100-something years, now you can go, right? Yeah. Nah, bro. Take it to exhaustion, and then let your kids start at that point or see that point and take it further. I tell my two kids all the time, no matter what happens to me, we always give back to Wyandotte County. I don't care how old you get, you stay involved some way, somehow. And then the next thing, you cannot relax. If you don't take it further, we got major issues. Take it further. You owe that to people that look like you, and you owe it to where your dad is from, Wyandotte County. I don't care if you're born in LA. You're going to take it further here. And my daughter be like, cool. Like, you know what I mean? Okay. Like, you know, okay. Like, you know, like, it just is what it is. But I'll say that, man. Inspire before you expire. You know, that's my thing.
And I like that. I like exactly how you said it, because that's the basis of what this podcast is. We in no means telling people they got to be Earl Watson, or they got to be Victor Williams, or whoever else, or in this profession. What we saying is, take what they use to motivate them in their pathway, and then find your passion. Yeah. Find whatever your passion is, and then be dedicated to that passion. Yeah. So I love that. I gotta ask this. If I don't ask this, I'll be crazy. Yeah. Man, give me one of your best memories of playing in the NBA.
Best memories of playing in the NBA. Yeah. It's crazy, dog.
I know you got a million of them.
I never told anyone this story, and it's not even, it's NBA related. I never had a bank account until I got to the NBA. Okay. And I remember I got my first check, and I could not believe how much money it was for 2 weeks of work. I got to call my agent, like, I get this twice a month. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah. I'm like, so the 1st and 15th? It's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I had to call my mom, and they was like, yo, how do I put this check in the bank? There's like, oh, you like sign the back, but don't sign it till you get there and start a bank account. And I'm like, Mama, like this is more money than you make a year, right? It was like so surreal for me, like, you know what I'm saying? It was like crazy. And that was the moment where I felt like I could really put my parents in a better situation first. Yeah. So I put them in a better situation first, and I still live in apartments until I made more money to put myself in a better situation. But I let my entire family and my parents go first. Y'all just go. I'll stay in this 1-2 bedroom apartment and, you know, thug it out with terrible furniture. You know, dudes can't decorate there. You know, it's just, all I need at that point is my video game system and cable, and I'm good. You know, some pizza, like, you know what I mean? And that was an impactful NBA moment. And then I have so many. And I think another one was playing for Jerry West and Hugh B. Brown in Memphis.
Oh, in Memphis, okay.
Yeah. So Hubie would tell stories about the greats because he coached forever. And he told me something that really changed my life. And I'm going to say this for everybody. When you're a professional, right, and he would say this, he's so organized. He would give the 7-day calendar for our team because the NBA switches a lot, right? You're never at home a lot. He had a 7-day, you know, outlook. And he said this. He was like, I'm like 22 at the time. He's like, never bring work home. He's telling our team this. He goes, whatever happens here stops in the locker room. If you bring work home, you're going to end up divorced, no relationship with your children, alcoholic, drug addict, unhappy. Leave that here. In the NBA, you are hired to be fired. So why would you bring that home? When you have a family, that is your family forever, no matter what, right? And I'm like 22, like, family? Bro, please. Like, I'm not thinking about a family, like, you know what I mean? But he was like, you know, every Sunday's family day. And he gave us every Sunday to spend it with our family. He was like, because when you get fired and when you're done playing, no one cares but your family. And I was like, damn, that's deep. Yeah. And then I started playing the games, you know, having teammates, KD, Russ, Dame Lillard, you know, just Gary Payton, Pau Gasol, playing against Kobe, Shaq, Lakers, playing in New York and Boston, seeing Paul Pierce get, you know, inducted to Hall of Fame this weekend, and being in the gym with Paul Pierce in LA all the time and seeing his growth. I'm so happy for him. And you just have these moments, dog, and you peel it back, dog, and it's like they just people, dog. It's like just people with strong convictions and passions about their skill. And when you have a strong conviction and passion about your skill, you have to be stubborn. Like, I always say this, like, too much of a coachable player gets you beat. Yeah. It's the one player's like, I don't see that. I see this. Yeah. And you're like, what is he? Good shot, baby, good shot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Those are the ones you win with. Right. You win with the player that you can't robotically control, because in basketball, you can't be on the court all the time. Yeah. You want players to think for themselves and have I'll call like instill your will personality, you know, and you kind of vibe off of that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he can do that, put that in my playbook. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You need that player. And, you know, you got too many coachable players. Like, somebody shoot. Quit passing all the damn time. You know what I'm saying? So you need that, dog.
Yeah, I have a favorite saying I used to always say, man, I don't care what I say. I don't care what nobody else say. play basketball.
Play basketball.
I may have called a play, but play basketball.
Yeah.
You got to do that first, and you're out there, so you got to be able to. You can't be a robot trying to go set this and move.
No.
Nah, you can't do that.
Can't
you
do
got to
that.
play basketball.
Yeah.
And I believe that translates into life too. Like you have to be a person that can make them adjustments. You have to be a person that first got conviction.
Yup.
But then you got to be able to play the game of life. You got to be able to continue to move because it's not every day comes with change.
You know,
Life
it's crazy.
change every
Like
day.
you got me thinking about something. People don't know this. When I got to LA, I moved with Barron and his grandmother on 87th in South Central. I lived with them for like 3 or 4 months before I went to UCLA in the hood.
Okay.
Right. And every Friday, me and Barron would go to Bible study. Every Friday. We'll go to Bible study, and then we'll go shoot, and then we'll drive through Beverly Hills and Bel Air, like imagining, visualizing having a house one day. And that we was consistent with that.
Yeah.
So like when you see all these players and all these people have this major success, it's a seed down there that they don't talk about because it's not cool to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like they want you to think they're bigger than life and they're not. And it's like, I see it. Like, I see all behind the scenes, like how Katie and Russ always go to Bible study before the game. I went to Bible study before every game. Like, you see it, bro. And then you come on the court and you trying to rip the other person's head off. You know what I mean? Right. Like, but you know, like, it's a seed. Like, you start somewhere, but you still have that competitive nature. When you get on the court, like, it's different. You can let that go because it's competition. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's important for young people to know, too. It's a meekness in success, right? You can't thug it out everywhere in life. You know, you have to have some meekness somewhere and a connection with something bigger than yourself.
I like that. All right, this is the last question.
Yeah.
I end every episode in this with this question. The question is, you're at the Super Bowl. And our Kansas City Chiefs are going to be in there this year. All right.
We going to make it again?
Yes, sir. We getting there.
Okay.
So you're at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They call your ticket. Earl, come on down.
Yeah.
You got a 60-second commercial. Can't sell it. What do you feel that commercial with? You didn't have time to write it down. It's just come down, Earl, this kid from the Dotte, come down, and what do you feel?
Invest in Kansas City, Kansas school systems.
I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe if we had all the resources and education, I'm not a basketball player, I'm a doctor. Maybe I'm a senator. You know, maybe I don't have tattoos if we have therapy. Maybe my self-expression is verbal and not ink. Because that's really what it is for me, it's my expression, right? Invest in our school systems, dog. Change the future forward, right? Forward, push it forward. Because without our teachers and without their commitment, whether you love them or dislike them or hate them, they still there. Teachers are people too. They need therapy services for dealing with y'all kids sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I be hiding from mine. You know what I mean? I hide from my kids. I can't imagine dealing with other people's kids daily.
Yeah. I
need a therapy session for my kids sometimes. You know what I mean? So like, invest in them, understand we're all in it together. And miscommunication leads to destruction, and lack of resources lead to failure. It just is what it is. You got money, you will succeed. So that'd be my Super Bowl commercial, right? Just give us 1% of that revenue, we straight.
Yeah. I like it, man. I love it. Building youth for the future. I love it. And it's through our schools.
Yeah.
Man, Earl, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so very much. It was a blessing to have you come through, man. I've always said this, you know, you have always represented where you come from. You've always been about Wyandotte County. Yeah. So I appreciate it. And, man, great career you had.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the best up in Toronto.
Yeah.
You with another guy from Kansas City getting there. So just can't say enough thank you, man. Appreciate your time. I know you're getting ready to get out of here, but thank you so very much.
Yeah, we do it again. We do it again next summer.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
That sounds good.
I got a lot of stories. We do it next summer.
Good, we do that. Yeah. So this is the end of our Evening Social podcast, but don't forget to tap in with our brother Chris Dunlap for the Red Pill segment. All right, we out.
What's going on, good people? For those of you who do not know me, my name is Chris Dunlap, and I'd like to welcome you and thank you for joining me on this episode of The Red Pill, where we give you financial tips to help you decode the matrix. All I offer is the truth, nothing more than the truth. What you do with it is up to you. Today's topic is employment retirement funds. You may be familiar with the term 401k for for-profits, 403b for nonprofits, and then TSPs or thrift savings plan for those who work for the government. What these are things that allow you to contribute to your retirement for working for for a company. You set these up through your paycheck. You want to make sure that you set a certain percentage that you're comfortable with taking out pre-tax that goes into these retirement funds. The plus side about these retirement accounts is typically your employer works with financial institutions like Fidelity, T. Rowe Price, or Edward Jones to work out where the money is going to be invested in. So they do a lot of the work for you. The downside, however, is, your money's locked in, of course, most times until retirement, so you don't have as much freedom as you want to use that same amount of money if you have the discipline to invest in your own, whether it's individual stocks, mutual, or index funds, to where you may see better returns. But again, 401ks are a very good way to get started in investing for the long term in your retirement. The other plus side of 401ks is, in most cases, but not all, your employers will do a match. 1%, 3%. I've seen some up to 9%. So that means for every dollar that you put in, your employer will match that up to 9%, one for one, up until the yearly federal limit. I believe this year is $27,500 that you can put into your 401k. And then, of course, there's other backdoor options that we can talk about in later videos. How to get started in 401ks? Reach out to your manager, look at your company website to see if there's any information, or reach out to your HR representative. But I suggest everyone who has a job, that has 401k or retirement funds available where your employer matches, to get started as soon as possible. You'll be surprised at how quickly those things can add up. And then again, when your employer matches, it's free money that you're leaving on the table if you do not start investing in the provided retirement fund. Thank you again for joining me on this episode of Red Pill, where we give you tips to decode the financial matrix. All I offer is the truth, nothing more than the truth. What you do with it is up to you.
A couple more, and then we're going to get into the nuts and bolts. What's your most treasured possession?
Probably my family. If I can use that as a possession.
There you go with that being modest.
Okay, you don't want me to be modest. Don't be modest.
That goes without
okay,
saying.
Okay, okay.
Health,
right.
Life.
Family. Okay.
All that go without saying. Now we talk. This okay. What's your most favorite purchase? Let me say purchase.
My favorite purchase right now, my latest purchase, is my Porsche 911. Okay. So, I mean, I like that right now. I mean, I'm having fun. I'm switching gears on the interstate and sliding and grooving and punching. Okay. That kind of thing.
Well, that 911.
Hey, you know.
That seems better than that Panorama that you had?
Oh yeah, that Panamera. The Panamera is a 4-door.
Okay. It's two.
I went from the 4-door to the 2-door. Okay. And it's just me and my boo, or me and my boy. You know what I'm saying? And we ride down the street. That kind of thing. So okay. I open it up and I get challenged a lot, and I always dust somebody because you don't want to mess with that 911.
Okay. All right.
Should I say 911?
All right, I like that. So I'm trying to get you to talk a little bit before I'm asking these questions.
I'm a chill.
Man.
I don't really like to do that, but
I know that, and I understand it. But in this setting, the whole purpose is we're allowing our young people, our listeners, to understand what success has brought you
Sure.
in this field.
Okay.
And there's some of the things that they equate with success, and they looking at the videos and TVs, the things that they looking at can become from a honest profession.
Mm-hmm.
By putting your head down, making certain choices, certain
Sure.
decisions, and
Right.
you know what I'm saying, gambling on yourself, betting on yourself, putting you out there, entrepreneurship, it can lead to these same things. It can lead
correct.
to that. So that's what it is. Normally
Okay.
I wouldn't have, but I want them to understand that, man. Them
Sure.
to understand this come from barber.
Mm-hmm.
All this come from the professional barber.
Mm-hmm.
It can become from what they want. Now, we're not telling them to be barbers. I ain't telling them to do that. What I'm telling them is look at the choices you've made, your pathway, and take whatever their skill is, whatever their passion is, and put that same into it that you did. And that's what they can become there. That's
True.
it. Yeah.
Very true.
So we're going to talk a little bit here and there,
Okay.
about some of that. Okay, last